Welcome to the Rocky Garza Show, where we explore the collision of a deeply meaningful life and a wildly impactful career. I'm your host, Rocky Garza, and with over a decade of experience as a coach, consultant, and keynote speaker to many Fortune 500 companies, I'm here to share personal stories and expert advice to help you gain clarity, build confidence, and discover that you too can build the life you actually want. Whether you're a high achiever looking for a more full life or a leader striving for professional success with purpose, this podcast was designed with you in mind. Welcome to the Rocky Garza Show. I'm your host, Rocky Garza. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of having with me somebody who not only is a good friend of mine, but somebody who, if honestly, you probably know him. If you are on the gram, if you're out there on social and you have any desire to be a part of the creative or the art community, I'm sure you've seen his face and seen his work. Today, I have Gert with me. I met Temi about 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe we met before that, but we didn't meet, but then met and decided we could have a real conversation maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, we've been through it together,
Yes.
It started off on a high. We kind of worked ourselves down to some lows, and now we're trying to get back.
And we're going back up.
Trying to get back to those highs again. And so I think the journey has been incredible. I think the amount of true, honest conversation, I think the amount of grace that has been extended. There's just so many things I could say about Temi. But Temi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rocky.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm really glad I'm not wearing the jacket you have on, because I almost got my jacket out because we're together.
Yeah, I figured we're going to.
I don't know if
I was like, I was going to wear the red one, but I was like, I don't know if Rocky's going to wear the black one.
We'll get an appearance. We'll pause for a commercial break, and then you can come back in the second.
Right.
Show them off. But I have been, outside of being your friend, and I think being a part of, our wives are a part of a community that they created together. And I guess that's given us a chance to chat more. But I mean, obviously, just for what it's worth for all of our listeners and for you too, because I always want to make sure anybody that I have a guest on, I have a chance to really communicate what I think and feel. Now, obviously, from a design and an art perspective, I'm a fan. I got one back here in the office. I don't, if I have my jacket, I got my jacket at the house. I got another poster as well, another piece of art as well. I think in all that, I have always been intrigued and inspired by what you do, what you build, what you create. And it's not just even for what you're designing, but I'm talking just the way in which you see yourself, the way in which you carry yourself, the way in which you conduct business, the way in which you sort of stuck to what, at least from the outside, saying you've really stuck to the things you love and you believe. And so if you don't mind, let's just jump into the deep end if you're cool with that.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
So how did you even begin to sort of develop your style? How does it develop? How does it change? Because I think, when I see your work, I am, whether you've showed it to me previously or not, I immediately know that it's you. So when I experience you, it's interesting because right now you're rocking the monochrome palette. We can't see your whole jacket, but you got a couple of colors on there. When I see you and experience you in real life, you're not like a walking poster. You're not like a walking thing that maybe is out there. However, talk to me about that. How did you even find your style, develop your style? How does it evolve? Can you give me the rundown there?
Yeah, I've always been someone that has always been curious and trying to figure out how to express myself, because I don't like talking a lot. I'm the kind of kid that was in college where I figured out how to make my essays look longer by extending the size of the period, because I just hated writing. And so music and design and photography was a way for me to express myself creatively. And so through those mediums, I was able to just let people know what I was thinking, how I feel, without really saying too much. And so when it came to me wanting to explore design, I took the same approach of just allowing my curiosity and following it and allowing it to lead me to new styles, new ways. Also, my upbringing, Nigerian culture, we're very colorful, we're very vibrant when it comes to our clothing and even our self-expression. And so, that's something that I bring into my work. Initially, when I started, I'm very like you said, I'm not someone that's trying to be too flashy. I like to just be in the background and, if you know me, you know me. If you don't, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, hi, my name is, no. I'm just stand in the corner and observe. And so when it comes to clothing, I just started putting out a lot more color because I'm designing these pieces now. But prior to this, it was black, white, gray, nature tones, neutral colors.
Yeah.
And it was ironic because people would see me in those neutral outfits and be like, "Man, I was expecting like because of how your art is, I was expecting you to be like very colorful." And I'm like, "No, I actually don't like wearing too much color.
Yeah.
Too loud. I like to sneak into places, but now it's cool because I'm wearing my own stuff.
Mhm.
And so like if people come to me, I have no other choice but to talk about what I do and what I've created, you know?
Mm.
Like I'll go get a coffee and they're like, "Yo, that's a dope jacket." And I remember one time I was like, "Thanks, I made it." And for the first time, it was like, did I just say that? You know? Whereas before people were like, "Oh, I love design." I'd be like, "Man, yeah, design is very cool. I want to talk about myself."
Mm.
You know? So I'm learning how to like, yeah, just be more confident in what I have worked so hard to accomplish.
Yeah.
And yeah, my style has evolved. It's still evolving. Even now, I'm like, how making all these products and stuff is really just me feeding that curiosity and that question of what does my artwork look like on a product that someone can wear versus just
Mm.
sitting on the wall? How can it impact someone's life and make it better, make them feel seen when they go out?
Talk to me about this. So I think it's really interesting to hear you describe it. You said you feel like a lot of your life you were the observer, right?
Yeah.
So you're sort of there. You want to be there, but you just don't want to have to be in the middle of it while you're there, right? So like
Yeah.
there's
Yes.
enough FOMO to be like, invite me. I mean, I want to see
Yes.
it with my own eye. However,
Yeah.
do you
Perfect.
feel yeah, do you feel like that because I feel like you are a very observant person and you're watching and
Hmm.
you're looking and maybe we could even use words like calculated to make sure
Yes.
that right and so how do you feel like that has impacted or affects your creative process, your work? Because I think many of us, whether we're in the creative space or not, whether we're in corporate, we're in creative, we're in pick the category. I think there's a lot of people out there that I would say I'm an observant person too, but just not in the same way you are. I'm not. Maybe we're not
Yeah.
looking at the same things, but
Yeah.
also like I'm observant while I'm talking. I'm not really like a in the corner kind of observe. Like I want to observe by
Yeah.
being in the middle, not like observe to the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I think how do you see that? How do you see that affecting, or and by affecting I mean in a positive way? How do you sort of see that creating impact into what you do, into your process, whether that's design, whether that whatever piece that is? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that resonate with you, going, "Yeah, that's totally me. I don't want to talk a bunch. I hate public speaking." But
Yeah.
how have you seen that as a positive aspect in your life?
Yeah, I think it has allowed me to just step out of my shell. Like it can be really good because I pay attention to detail, even with the stuff I make, the jackets, the products I make, the posters I design. I'm very detail oriented, almost to a fault, where I would not put it out if I felt like this little small detail, even though someone's probably not going to see it. I've had to learn to stop overthinking. I read a book called Soundtracks by John Acuff, and it just talked about like a lot of times we had this soundtracks playing in our minds of who we are and what we do, and it's always negative. And it's like we need to take that music out and put a new soundtrack in. And so yeah, when it comes to like even just how I am as a person, when I speak and people come up to me and like, "Man, that was amazing," I'm like, you're just being nice. Is someone gonna come to you after you speak and say, "Hey, you were terrible?" That's again overthinking, calculated, and
Do you find that you make overthinking and calculated synonymous?
oh, for sure.
Okay, now
I don't know how.
let's take a step back and let's talk about somebody else that's not you. Would you tell would you tell your son when he's older if
Mhm.
he is in fact calculated because he is thoughtful, intentional, and methodical? Would you tell him that he is overthinking? Or what would you tell him about his calculated belief?
Sheesh. Ah, that's tough. Why you ask me that, man? I don't think I would tell him it's overthinking. I think I would tell him it's almost a necessity in life, but
Mhm.
I think you just have to also be open-minded and not grasp that calculation so much that you don't move. Because for me, my problem and why I guess I feel like it's overthinking is because I have analysis paralysis because I'm so calculated. So I don't do it.
So for you, overthinking has become synonymous with calculated. Back up.
Yeah.
Calculated. Back up one more step. We're missing a step pre-calculated. What do you think drives you to be calculated? What's
Um,
the
I
hope?
I think part of it is control. to be
What
able to
else? Give me the
mitigate the
positive. Give me the
risk.
positive.
Okay, the positive. I guess control is actually a kind of positive too for me, at least, to be able to like know what is happening.
Mm,
I like to be in the know. So I think for
okay.
me, the calculation is like, I want to know what's happening, where, when, how, who's doing what, all of those things. Because if I
Okay.
don't, then I'm not going to be able to control where it goes and how
Okay.
it
Well, hold on.
leads to.
Yeah, but see, I think you took a hard left. Let's go back. You want to be in the know and you want to
Mhm.
be prepared because when you are most prepared, that then gives you the ability to do your best work.
Perform better, do my best work.
So when I am aware and in the know of as much
Mhm.
information as possible, it
Right.
allows me to perform at my best.
Yes.
Therefore, being calculated allows me to show up fully as who I am under a deep belief that what I'm doing is good because I want to live a life that is thoughtful, intentional, methodical.
Correct.
Do you believe that?
No, because I mix the two, and I'm always a lot more focused on the negative. Like I was just texting my friend last night, like my shop is doing great, but then I got into YNAB and I put the numbers in. I was like, I didn't really make anything. What is happening? And it's like, well, you made something. It might not be the big number that you thought it would be, but without your shop doing what it's doing, you would not have made anything.
Mhm.
And so, but rather than looking at the positive, I was looking at the negative, like, oh
Yeah.
man, I thought I would keep more of this and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm very always 90% of the time focused on the negative just because if it fails, I want to be able to say, yeah, I was prepared for it. But I'm learning that I need to put more focus in like, what if it actually succeeds? Then I'm ready for it,
Mhm.
you know.
Maybe we are finding that we tend to put ourselves in position to discover what is true based on what it is that we're pursuing. And so if our thoughts go is where our focus goes, where our focus is where our energy goes, and where our energy is inevitably what our actions will be.
Right.
So if our thoughts are, let's do everything we can to suck as least as possible, then our
Mhm.
focus goes on how do we not suck? And our energy goes to protection of not sucking. And our actions are pretty reactive and good Lord, let's hope it doesn't all crumble tomorrow.
Exactly.
But if we ran the same equation, right, theoretically, and
Mhm.
I'm guilty of it
Mhm.
too, so let's be clear, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like, if my thoughts were, man, this is crushing, and I wonder how much we can crush, our
Mhm.
focus goes to how else can we crush so that our actions go to, yo, we're crushing.
You're right. Right. That's the space I'm in right now. And even last night, as down as I was still kind of motivated because I was like, I'm already working towards something. Like something is working here. I just need to figure out how to scale it in a way that I can keep more. Because the profit margin isn't bad. It's just I don't really get to keep a lot, or the money is not enough to live off of or sustain the business.
Right. Okay. For sake, when did you start selling retail?
2023, this was the first jacket. 2023, like October.
Okay. So we're thin.
Yeah, pretty much. But last year was like eye opener. I mean, this jacket I did 100 organic. The other one I did 150 organic plus some ads towards the end. But then it started selling so well, and I only ordered 150. I panicked, and so I just
Mm.
stopped the ads. My friend was like, "Okay, if you want to," but he's like, "We can keep going." I didn't listen. Cost me about 8 months. Then in November, I was talking with my friend Matt. He helps me with Facebook ads, and he was like, "I think you should do a Black Friday." And I was like, "I don't know." So we ran a Black Friday sale. The discount was from November 17th, I remember, until December 24th. And we sold almost 300 jackets.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. I ordered everything. And then January comes and I'm like, bro, I think we should run it again but no discount. And I was like, man, I don't know if people will buy it because they got a discount last time. Why would people come in, and stupid. And so right now, I've already sold over 90 something, and we still have like a little over a week left.
Mm.
I'm trying to like shift my mind, but again, it's like, I'm like, oh, well, I have over a week left. I'm not going to hit selling 200 this month. So maybe now the trajectory is dying, So I just start like, okay, how can I calculate it? And sometimes the first idea is like, okay, well, we just need to stop
Mm.
because if we try to get the trajectory back up, we might lose more money. So it's just like that's how my brain works. Of like, how am I going to figure this out? But going back to what I was saying, that I feel like I'm in the right trajectory is like I found companies that don't require a minimum quantity order, and they also would ship the item for me. So now I can put more time on creating. And so now my goal is like has shifted from like, yes, I'm thankful for the red jacket and I still want that to be going crazy like it is. But what if I bring this black jacket back because people have been asking? Okay, what if I get another viral item or two, but this is with the companies that have no minimum quantity order. And so
Right.
now I don't have to package. They're doing everything for me. So those are things I'm like thinking about. And I feel like if I can get there, I will hit a new milestone. And
Right.
so that's the positive part of all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And I think what I hear you saying is in order to hit a new milestone, you have to do something you haven't done. And to do something you haven't done means you have to do it.
Yes.
No matter what,
Doing the
work,
thing
not
is doing the
work,
thing.
good, not work,
Right.
make right. Like we're in the same boat. We're getting ready to launch a brand new program. It's then take the last 10 years of everything I've done. We're squeezing it all together. We're giving it to people in 24 weeks or 6 months, evergreen
Wow.
enrollment. Let's go. It's a price that I think is totally doable. You can all you A, B, C, and D. Like, I hope.
Yeah.
I'm banking 30% of my annual income on this thing. Like I'm hoping let's get after
Wow.
it, right? And
Yeah.
like, but I will never know if I don't do it.
Exactly.
Like I'll never know unless I actually do it. And I think
Right.
I want to encourage you that even when it's difficult, like no one can take away that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're literally doing it. We can't even say like good, bad, right. Either we are or we aren't. And I think there's a lot of freedom I find for myself, and I think there's a lot of freedom we can find for ourselves if we were to base if we would remove the good, bad, positive, negative for
Mhm.
just a small duration of time, right? So I think I find for myself, and I think for us, that if we can remove the positive, negative, good, bad, this just a little bit, right? If we can just for a moment to either just the only thing is like done or not done, on
Yeah.
track or not on track. That's it. Just
Yeah. That's
do
good.
it or don't do it. If the answer is
Yeah.
yes, great. Like it is totally possible if we do something. And I think from an outsider, I just want to remind you, you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're literally wearing it. We
Yeah.
can't even argue it. You're wearing one of them, and the other one is behind me. It's a real, valuable, possible thing. So, okay, let me ask you this. I'm gonna jump to something because I think earlier when I asked a question, we struck a chord. So we're gonna go back to that one. Talk to me about what you have experienced over the last year or so as it relates to being in business, being a business owner, having multiple successful businesses, and now being a father. I know when I asked you earlier, what would you say to your son if you
Yeah.
used the same words for you, but you were going to use them for him? All of a sudden, everything changed. All of a sudden, you said
Yeah.
something differently. So, talk to me about what have you seen? What have you learned? I think there's a lot of us out here who are like, hey, we're doing our very best to try to figure it out.
I think, being a dad has been amazing. It's opened my eyes to, just for me as a Christian, just to see how God sees me and cares for me and provides. And like my son is just tumbling around and I'm making sure he doesn't hit his head or fall down, how much more so God. But I think as far as, business, and right now he's not in daycare. So my wife and I were watching him during the week, and we've had to learn how to communicate and just give each other time.
Mm.
So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go to the office from 12 to 5. And for her, Tuesday, Thursday, she goes to the office. And sometimes we switch depending on how busy the week is. And she's been getting a little bit busy as well. And so there's really had to be some sacrifices on both sides, especially with the sleep progression. But one thing that I have learned even more now is just how precious time is.
Mm.
Like, I have gotten to the point now, like my Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 to 5 is so sacred.
Mm.
Unless you're an important person in my life, you might have to catch me at another time. You know what I'm saying? I'll make time for you, Rocky, of
Yeah,
course.
thank you. I appreciate
Anytime,
that.
12 to 5, just give me a call.
I got you.
But everybody, if I don't know you, we're going to have to push it a few weeks away or something. or a phone call when I'm walking or something. But
Yeah. And would you have
um,
said that before you were a father? Would you have looked at your time as that valuable?
n-
Yeah. And I think that's totally natural. I was absolutely the same way. But I think it's
yeah,
really important for us to note that. And I think it's really important for folks out there listening that you don't have to become a parent to look at your time as
right,
that valuable, right? Like, how much different would our
yeah.
life be if we actually had that mentality a decade ago? It'd be a
But
lot
we're here
different.
now.
But we're here now,
Yeah,
right? So I think that's just really, I think it's a really important thing that you bring up. That I think is an encouragement to all of us. You don't have to wait for a significant life event to determine that you want to make a decision about the way you want your life to be. You can make that
yeah.
decision now. We have a good quote unquote reason that we say we value our
Hmm.
time because we're fathers and we want to give it to our children, to our families, and so on.
Yeah.
Which is I love that. I think it's a thing you and I have in common. And
Hmm.
as an encouragement to folks who maybe are not parents or don't want to be parents or maybe never will be parents, you also
Yeah.
don't have to have a child as a reason to say that you can prioritize your time. However, it's a pretty good thing that happens to
Yeah,
us when
because
we
it
got a kid.
pushes you to the corner. Like you have no excuse.
Mm.
I'm on 4 hours of sleep right now because he woke up and then I had to get him this morning. And I woke up at 11, went back down like 1, and then woke back up at 5:30. But I'm here and my body is still functioning. But just like you said, you don't have to wait till you have a kid. You don't have to wait for any big thing in life to happen for you to really take control of your time. Like I learned about time blocking right before I was a dad, and I'm like, man, I wish I was using this back in the day. But now it's like, yeah, I'm in the corner, and when people ask me, hey, let's have lunch, I'm like, for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, if this can be an email, email me. You know what I'm saying? That's how precious my time is now.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to be like mean or anything like that, but like, I just don't have it. Like, an hour that I'm giving to you is an hour I'm taking away from the business, from what I'm trying to do for my family. So you have to make it count. It has to be worth my time. But yeah, time has changed for me. And once he gets better, I think, of course, I think what I'm going to do is to make sure like I wake up in the morning before everybody else, like you said, you used to do.
Mhm.
Oh, that you probably still do because
Mhm.
we be texting sometimes early in the morning, and just having sacred time for myself to be able to work. Right now, I don't have that luxury just because of his sleep regression.
Sure.
But yeah, time and then running 2 businesses and just like trying to develop systems. That's my thing this year. Like
Mhm.
I'm doing Clavio newsletter. I scheduled 2 newsletters to go out today, this morning, and it feels so good because people are replying me right now, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I scheduled that. You know, doing things that will help the future Tammy, regardless of how I'm
Mhm.
feeling right now. So things like I know I gotta wash the dishes in my son's bottles in case he wakes up early in the morning. I already have a bottle ready and his food and everything. So
Mhm.
I just I've been working towards that. Like how can I use this time that I have? Like my son naps for only 20 minutes now in the afternoon, sometimes an hour. But yeah, 20 minutes is all I got. So I'm like, okay, what can I do in 20 minutes that will help future Tammy?
You know what I just heard you describe?
What?
Someone who is calculated.
Yeah, that's me. I can't run away from it. Which is a
But I
good thing,
but I
but it can
right,
also be,
but I
yeah.
right, but I think what you just said, I'm excited for you to go back and hear yourself because the last 3 minutes you gave me what here's the phrase that I would use rocky words, right? We typically we're helping we want to help individuals discover the intersection of a deeply meaningful life and a wildly successful career. And that intersection is different for every person in the world. I
Yeah.
think if we could go one step further and kind of give it a little more gumption, it's like, no, I want to help you discover the intersection between your personal conviction and your professional ambition. And
Mm.
that's like, because I think without the conviction of one, the ambition of the other is no longer valuable. But
Yeah.
I just heard you for the last 2.5 minutes talk about your personal conviction about calculation and about
Yeah.
intentionality and about methodology and about taking care of future you by the decisions you make and present you. In the
Yeah.
last 3 minutes, I didn't hear you one time talk about past you,
Yeah.
which if we don't talk about past us in relationship to where we're going, right? I
Right.
deeply believe in reflection. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But if we
Yeah.
don't talk about past us in relationship to where we're going, all of a sudden the only thing we're left is present and future.
Yeah.
So calculation for present and future, we can't twist that to be bad.
Yeah.
Calculation present and future, we can't twist that and say it's a terrible thing. Like
Yeah.
we have to look at that and go, wait a second, that's thoughtful, intentional, methodical because I'm building a life for my future self by living the life I actually believe in today.
Right.
And you're doing it because you just did it,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
and if you could do it on 4 hours of sleep, man, imagine when you get 8 hours.
Man, listen, I'll be
Listen,
flying. Oh man, I remember the first time Josiah slept for like 10 hours. No, 12 hours, 7:30 to 7:30. I felt like a whole new human. I haven't felt that, but I haven't gotten that much sleep since then.
yeah,
That was like when he was 4 months.
yeah, it's coming. Don't worry.
Amen.
I can't tell you when, but it's coming. At some point,
Yeah, you did this twice? I don't
it'll
know,
be there.
man.
It'll be there.
You did this with your both kids. I don't know. Josiah might be the only child.
But
Oh Lord.
it's
A
so
lot.
true.
It's worth it. You know, I've heard it's just a lot of hard work up front, and then you get to
Yep.
enjoy it later.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good example for life. It's a really good example for business, a really good example for relationships and marriage and partnership.
Yeah.
It's a really good example for self, you
Mm,
know, like
yeah.
you and I talk a lot about fitness. We talk a lot about being healthy and what should we do and what's the minimum and how do we even survive. But it's just, we either do or we don't. And not to
Yeah.
oversimplify or to make it not valuable. I think we get so wrapped up into, if I don't have an oversized shirt just because I have as my pump shirt, because underneath it I'm ripped, I don't want you to know it, but I do want to do a video on Instagram. So I do show that we're going to, and I do have then like, if I can't do all that, then what's the point of working out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do 15 push-ups and 15 squats. And we'd go, that's not a workout. I might as well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do nothing.
Right.
But
Yep.
like the long-term logic of that we would say that's foolishness. That's not wisdom.
Right.
That's foolishness. That doesn't make any sense. And so I
Yeah.
think for me, I sort of begun to have a new dialogue for myself. So we'll test it with you. But I think like the phrase is like, like to me, just when I talk to myself is just say, just prove it. Just prove it. Like not prove it like, oh yeah, you think you're something. No. Like just to you, prove it. You're going to build a $1 million retail business. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it to yourself. Do it. I can operate on 4 hours of sleep with 3 days a week, dedicated 15 to 20 hours of focused, non-interrupted. My answer is no to everyone, even Rocky. He can call me, he can text me at night because I'm going to prove it. With the calculations in hand, prove it.
Yeah.
With the ability to be thoughtful, intentional, methodical, prove it. With a lot of sleep, prove it. With no sleep, prove it. Because we either do or we don't, right? Like the difference between people who write a book and the people that don't are just the people that do. That's the only difference between Temi today and Temi 2 years ago is that you did.
Yeah.
At some point, you looked in the mirror and you said, Temi, prove it. You want to have retail? Prove it. You want to have another revenue stream? Prove it. No, you can talk about it all day long, but not until you do something about it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good. I mean, and I've kind of been in this space now of like, it's funny. I guess my version of prove it is make it exist.
Mm.
You know, that's something
Love
that I did last. I read on Thread. Someone was like, someone was like, just make it exist, and it hit me so hard because I have so many ideas, but I take my ideas to the court and I say it's not good enough. The judge says it's not good enough, and I need to really cross-examine my ideas. It's not good enough. Why? And then keep asking that why until I get to the root of it. But to make it exist almost like takes all of that away. It's like, hey,
That's right.
you have this idea, just make it exist.
That's right.
What done is better than perfect. And so that's where I'm at. And I'm also in a phase now, like I'm going to write about it in my newsletter, but yesterday, Jazzy Jeff, the producer, DJ Jazzy Jeff, he said something so profound. He said, die empty. And he's like, all the musicians like Jay Dilla, Michael Jackson, all the musicians, a lot of the stuff they made, they were not able to play it when they were alive, and so, but they made so much music, so much stuff. They died empty that we can enjoy a lot more things now. Some people are like, oh, I never heard that Michael Jackson song, or the Michael Jackson album that came out after he passed, which were songs that he just wrote and sang. Jay Dilla, people are finding CDs under their mattresses because they're like, oh my gosh, me and him were working on this, but I forgot all about it. Stuff like that is really inspiring because I want to be in my deathbed and be like, I tried everything. I gave all my ideas a chance to live and to breathe. Even if they failed, I learned something.
Right.
So that's been my mentality. Make it exist and die empty.
I love that. I love that. I love and when you make it exist, then it good, bad, right, wrong. Like the judge and the jury, who's by the way
Yeah,
is not us, by the
exactly.
way. They'll let us know.
Right.
We'll know if it
Yeah,
works or it doesn't work, right? And so
exactly.
it's not good enough. Prove it. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
I really can. Hey, make it exist. Once it
Look at our
exists,
words
you know what
coming
I'm
together.
saying? We didn't even know it was gonna happen today.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
Yeah.
I think in that there's something really significant for us as human beings that really give us the ability to then say, okay, then I'm gonna put forth the effort. I'm gonna put forth the practice. I'm gonna get after it. I'm gonna try it, and then we see where we go from there. So, Tammy, you man, I always want to use as an opportunity to make it public. To me, just makes it even just hopefully makes it that much more memorable because we can go back to it later. Man, I am
Mhm.
inspired by you, and
Thank
as
you.
somebody who's not a creative, who doesn't know, I open up Photoshop and close it immediately, and I know that you Photoshop. That's like for beginners. So like, Canva
Right.
overwhelms me. So I don't even mean inspiring from a design standpoint. As a human being who is lives in personal conviction unapologetically, who I think
Thank you.
every day that I've known you has stepped further and further into professional ambition. And
Mhm.
I continue and hope for you as somebody who's in your life to support you that you will continue to see you the way we see you, which is
Thank you.
somebody that is inspiring, somebody who creates great work, who loves what they're doing, who cares about their family, who doesn't jeopardize the things they value most just for the highlight reel and or the accolade. And I think that's a really significant thing. So I so appreciate you being on the show
Thank you.
today. I so appreciate you taking some time to chat about fatherhood, about business, about fear, and about 3 days ago this wasn't even a thing. And so sometimes you just
Right.
have to exist.
There we go.
See, I
There
got you.
we
I knew I'd
go.
throw it in there.
You
I
got
threw it
me.
in there for
You're
you.
able to put it in there. No, thank you so much for your support and everything. I mean, you're always just a call away, and I really appreciate you. And I know sometimes I come to you and I'm like, sorry if I'm annoying you. Like, we talked about this already. I'm going through this again. And you've always been just open, almost like this is the first time we're having the conversation. So I appreciate it. And I'm learning a lot from you, and, hope to just continue to grow the relationship and see you at the top.
Yeah, same to you, my friend. Where can folks find you? What's the easiest way for folks to get into contact with you?
Yes, so my website is Coker.co. My Instagram is at TEMI.Coker. The brand I'm working on right now, Coker Studio, is just at Coker Studio on Instagram. And you'll be able to get access to my newsletter, my shop, and the work that I do. So yeah,
Love that. Love that. We'll make sure we have all that tagged in the show notes below. Check
for
him out.
sure.
Follow him on the gram. Follow him on Threads. If you like the visual, go to the gram. If you want to just get in his head, go to Threads. Follow him on
Right.
both. Grab you one of the jackets before you can't any longer. Tammy, I
Yes.
appreciate you and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rocky.